Alright, hello everyone. Today I felt like playing some Daggerfall. Yeah. Let's get chat popped up here and load up our save. What song is playing on Spotify right now? My god. Okay. Okay. So, I do have the skeleton key. So that's pretty good. What level am I? Level 7, even better. I still find it really funny that you can see... One second. Let me just get a really good... You can see the other ship. Nice. That's off in the distance. It's pretty funny. I like it. Is my game gonna crash? Okay, there we go. So I assume I have nothing in my inventory considering my carry weight, which is good. What about my wagon? Nothing there either. I'm sorry. Hello. Oh my god, my history. I can... Ooh, so yeah, this is all my upsides and downsides. I level up extremely quickly. The only thing big about me was my appetite. God damn it. Had no other schooling. It's also a woman. By impulse. Damn, this is pretty cool. I completely forgot that that was a thing, that the game kind of gave you a backstory if you wanted to go looking into it. Okay, let's go and do a quest here. Go in the complete wrong direction. Damn, there's a lot of stuff that's worth a lot. Okay. Nothing that's a direct upgrade. I'm not gonna bother stealing. Damn. It's possible the general store will have something worthwhile. Oh, god damn it. I guess now's a better time as... I guess now's a good time as I need to get this repaired. What exactly does this do? Right. Oh man, why is my ear so itchy? Oh my god. You know what? This works eventually. Oh my god, I did it. Okay. Oh, jeez. Oh god. Are there more? Okay, I need to get the hell out of here. Okay, that could have gone so much worse. Yeah, let's go back to the ship. Let's get on our ship and... Ooh, level up. God damn. Okay. Okay then. Okay, I'm gonna quickly throw this up so I can open up my auto clicker because, oh god, dude. Alright, set it to 1 millisecond, collapse, 6. There we go. Nothing particularly expensive? What do you call something with a great value? Or with like high value? Something, nothing particularly valuable, but hello. Hope you're doing well. Alright. Let's go on to our ship. Nice 12 hours. Oh man, I feel like I need to crack my wrist, but every time I try to, it just hurts even more. Let's see if the store actually restocked or not. It did. Nothing particularly valuable though, I don't think. Ooh! Oh my god, okay, you know what? It should still have the Mithril Tonto in stock. Alright. Yeah, we might as well take everything else. Why not? You use an auto-clicker to cheat in RuneScape. I use an auto-clicker because I can't be bothered to click a million times in Daggerfall. We are not the same. Alright, 12 hours once again. Probably should have gone with 13, but who cares? Oh, no, we're fine. Alright. I'm not doing well. I have to wear rubber bands on my braces, and it sucks. Oh, man. Yeah. Colony? Okay. Creates colony. Cool. Fucking rubber bands on your braces? That shit sucks. I can't imagine that. Can you, or like, are you even able to like open your mouth and you like eat, or do you have to like eat through a straw? Or something like that. How do you even get like fiber into your system if you can't eat? I mean, I'm sure there's a way, but I have to take them off. But I have more to put on. Oh man, that sucks. I've never had to wear braces, so I don't know. I don't know what advice I can give to make the process less horrible. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's save. Try and go for a quest here. I need to get to Cromwell within 40 days. For free, take me to the Dwarven Sword and I'll pay you nearly 600 gold. Okay. Cromwell. Should be easy. Hello. Gentlemen. Stand aside, sheet. Edwin Yaming is wanted by the Dark Brotherhood. Ha! I heard of Shiji. Are you going to turn me... Wait. I hired this Khajiit to protect me from this. Are you going to turn me over now? Are you going to turn me over? No! Nuh-uh. No fucking Fuck the Brotherhood. Brotherhood ain't my fucking problem. Oh, what the fuck? Oh god. What? What happened? What are you playing? I'm playing Daggerfall. What the fuck? This is the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. Well, Daggerfall Unity, more specifically, a fan-made port to make the game playable on modern systems. But, do you know what the this is Elder. Do you know? How do I phrase? I don't know how to phrase this without being a pompous dick. But yeah, you know, are you familiar with Skyrim? At all? Skyrim, 2011, PS3 game. Xbox 360. Had like 10, it led a bunch of re-releases over the years. And you don't have a quest for me anymore. That's great. Does anyone else? Ooh. Find me district tradesman. I receive remark thugs. Right? Fuck, I don't like these quests. Never heard of Skyrim, but I've heard of Skyrim. Okay, so Skyrim is the Elder Scrolls 5. This game is the Elder Scrolls 2. Right? They're in the same series of each other. It's yeah. That's the best way I can explain this game to people, because literally it's kind of funny how many people are Skyrim fans and they don't even realize that Skyrim is part of a bigger series. Like, it's what the fuck? Why are guards after me? What do you want with... What, a criminal... Oh yeah, criminal conspiracy. Fuck you. The bait. Oh. Fuck you. Banished from Rip Market. Get fucked. But yeah, no, this, I swear to God, if the guards fucking come after me again. Let's do a job. Let's do a Thieves Guild job here. Fucking criminal conspiracy, my ass. Anyway, I'm making a Minecraft mod, but what should I include? Ooh, a Waystone mod, probably. That would probably be, I would say, a Waystone mod of some kind, or some mod where you can easily teleport around. Fucking banished from Rip Market. Who cares? Their banishing me isn't my problem, okay? My God. Who do they think they're dealing with? Who do they think they are? Let me see what tasks we have. Antique Ivory. Ooh, yeah, the Ashart Residence, easy. For a good 900 gold? Fuck, I should be charging way more than that, considering I'm literally banished from the city. Like, I wonder if any of the townspeople are even willing to help me on this. If I go talk to you, and general? Come on, show me on the map. Map me, bro. Alright. Ashar Residence, alright. Just gotta make sure I, avoid the guards for the time being. So I can beat this quest, and then I'll deal with it. And it'd be really funny if... It would be really funny if I go to the court system, if I go through the legal system and the Thieves Guild bribes the judge, and I'm now allowed in Rip Market again. That would be the funniest goddamn thing in the world. Tool and all. Oh, I don't... Oh, Tinker's Construct. Tinker's Construct is really good. That's another really good mod. I wouldn't call it like my favorite mod, but it's a really, really good mod if you need a tool and armor mod. Tinker's Construct is really good. I don't know what version you're playing, and I think like the latest version, oh fuck, I think the latest version of Tinker's Construct was like 1.16 maybe. I think. I genuinely don't remember. So, there's that to keep in mind, but I really like Tinker's Construct. 1.20.1. Okay, cool. Alright, then I guess I was wrong. Cool. Alright. Awesome. 1613. Let's go to the ship. Good 1,000 gold. Let's see if there's any cops here who are willing to arrest me. Let's see if we can get the Thieves Guild to bail me out, to bribe the judge, and aren't I banned from... I could have sworn I was banned from Rip Market. Is that just forgotten? Log. Okay. I have no spellbook, so... Yeah, I lost my spellbook a long time ago. It's one of the... I think it's in that cave in Privateer's Hold. How do I not check? How do I check where I'm banned from? Play a mod pack? Yeah. Go, yeah, see if the time you spent on it was worth it. It never is. I'm kidding. God, that's such a dick thing to say. Am I not banned from Rip Market? 1 second. I'm just gonna save here. Okay. Oh, and the... Okay, well... So if I just... Yeah. Whoa. God damn, nearly a year in prison. Over a year in prison. Wait a minute. A brother. Oh, yeah, no, okay. I guess that makes sense that the fucking Dark Brotherhood would contact me after pulling that. Let's see how just much of a crime spree I can build up here. Everyone has 1 health and, like, no armor, so, like, it's pretty easy. I don't have to worry about... like, unless I straight up miss, I don't think I have to worry about needing to attack someone multiple times. Like that. Okay, let's surrender. You will face banishment. Yeah, okay. Alright, I thought, to be fair, I genuinely thought I was already banished from Rip Market, but I guess I'm not, or, like, they just can't be bothered with keeping track of who is and isn't banished from their city, which is pretty funny to me. Jesus, you just came out of nowhere. I don't know why I asked about that. I'm gonna be honest, the main reason I am playing Daggerfall today is because it's Tuesday and Steam does that whole maintenance. Like they do their weekly maintenance on Tuesdays, so I kind of want to avoid getting disconnected from like a match of TF2 or something. Not that I would be playing TF2, but like anything that uses Steam's servers I want to avoid playing simply because I don't want to get disconnected from whatever it is I'm doing. And I have to switch games anyway. Though I might switch to like Lego Star Wars. I was thinking about doing Lego Star Wars initially, but I don't know. I feel like that would get boring really quickly. I'm... do we head out? Why? Not guilty. Fuck you. Banishment. What a joke. What a fucking joke, dude. Unironically. Banishment. Etiquette, cool. Just walk right back in. You can't stop me. I own this city. It's where's the palace? Let's try and get in the good graces of the political powers. That'd be really cool if you were like on good terms with royalty. Like you could just straight up at like a certain point bribing a judge would be possible, right? And however gold you had on hand, you could try and bribe the judge with. Oops. I'm surprised no one's been like, hey, aren't you banished from this place? Everyone's pretty happy to see me. I genuinely thought I was banished from this. Welcome, Moonistar. I mean, hero, I mean, eternal chat. I mean, Dragon Boy. Hello. I think the protagonist of Daggerfall is named the Agent. I'm pretty sure, right? Welcome. That's actually the first thing there. Welcome, welcome, Nerevar. The like, wait, is that still my like YouTube and Twitch description? Yeah. The fucking like, Dagothar welcomes you, Nerevar. But to this place where destiny is made, why have you come unprepared? I took that line and like made a parody of it for my like YouTube and Twitch descriptions. Of course, no one needs a job at the palace. I'm gonna get the cops on me, aren't I? Yeah. Unironically, though, the Agent is much more fitting considering the type of game Daggerfall is. Right? You're not some major political power. You're just a guy in the background pulling all the strings. Right? You're the medieval CIA. Literally. Like, which honestly, I feel like... Okay, what's your hot take about that? What's your Daggerfall hot take? There's nothing good for sale. Pretty much just go out and get random enemies to spawn. Whoa! What the fuck? What did I do? Wait a minute. Fuck you! God damn it. Way more to fit. Wait, Daggerfall is way more similar to Skyrim than it is to Morrowind. Ooh. Is it? I don't know about that. Because my immediate thinking is like One, well, okay. Hmm. What is your argument? Why do you think that Daggerfall is the in Daggerfall the core gameplay is dungeon crawling, getting loot, and selling in the city. Same in Skyrim and Morrowind, the dungeons don't really exist. Huh. That, yeah. Hmm. I will say though that I do think because my immediate go-to thinking was just very like the subtleties between different mechanics. Like lockpicking is a lot more similar to Morrowind than Skyrim and Daggerfall. Like in Daggerfall, it's literally just random chance, much like it is in Morrowind. Whereas in Skyrim, it's an actual mini game that you get to play, and like the disposition of different characters works much more. Well, first off, there's like some characters can just not like you in both Morrowind and Daggerfall, whereas in Skyrim, it's just kind of like you can't even really have a proper conversation with anyone. It's just hitting E, and they say a line and you move on, unless they're like quest givers, but that's about it. Um, what are some other similarities between Daggerfall and Morrowind that don't exist in Skyrim? There's no quests markers in Morrowind and God, I keep on saying Morrowind and Skyrim. There's no quest markers in Morrowind and Daggerfall, but there are like quest markers are like insanely prevalent in fast travel. Yeah, fast travel does work. Okay, first off, fast travel works very uniquely among every single Elder Scrolls game. Genuinely, in Arena and Daggerfall, it's like you can fast travel anywhere on the map, except for dungeons where you have to learn the location of them first before you can fast travel to them. In Morrowind, fast travel is like an actual transit system that you have to learn. In Oblivion, you can only freely fast travel to the major cities, and to fast travel anywhere else, you have to go there first. And then in Skyrim, it's very similar, but it's similar to Oblivion where you have to go there to travel first, but that's just how it exists throughout the game. And while you can see where the cities are on the map, you have to go there to be able to fast travel to it again. So while I can agree that the fast travel, if we're comparing Morrowind and Daggerfall and Daggerfall and Skyrim, I'll definitely agree that I'll agree that Skyrim's system is more similar to Daggerfall's than Morrowind's is to Daggerfall's. But they're still very different systems. You don't have quest markers, but you kind of do. Name of the place in Skyrim? Eh. Yeah, in Morrowind you do kind of have to pay attention to roads and signs and stuff. But it's still the fact where it's not really another thing is, well, okay, that is true if you're at a quest where you need to go to a certain place and talk to a certain person. That is very much the case. But in quests where you actually have to do dungeon crawling, the game doesn't tell you where whatever you need to kill is, right? Whereas in Skyrim, there's a quest marker directly telling you where an enemy is and which enemy specifically that you need to kill, right? In Morrowind, granted, Morrowind system, there's no quest markers whatsoever. It literally just tells you. It's a lot more like Morrowind's system is almost identical to Daggerfall's. It's just that because Morrowind's system is because Morrowind is such a smaller game, you don't really need to have a system where you need to type things in because, well, it's just a lot less crowded, so to speak. Dungeon, not the MacGuffin. Yeah, in Skyrim, 100%. You just kind of fall in Skyrim. You are able to just follow the quest markers and do a single thing. In Daggerfall, you actually kind of have to remember what you're doing because, granted, obviously the journal exists and you can always refer to it, but if you can't remember what the fuck is in your journal, you're going to be constantly referring to it over and over again, right? Whereas, I'm just saying that if you're used to the quest marker system and want to play Daggerfall, there's a new system at play that you're going to have to get used to. That is more like Morrowind's system of no quest markers and needing to remember information. Although I will say in Daggerfall, it's a lot easier to not have to remember that information because of how quickly you use that information effectively and don't have to worry about it anymore, right? It's mostly remembering the names of places so you know which option to click in the dialogue menu and what to type in the map menu, you know? You navigate the overworld more similar to Skyrim than Morrowind. You don't really travel using landmarks and stuff. It's just travel. Oh, yeah, for sure. You're 100% right. Although in Skyrim, you do have to go to where you want to be able to fast travel to later on the first time you want to go there, where that's just not a thing in Daggerfall, right? Like I said, I 100% agree with you that this fast travel system in Daggerfall is closer to Skyrim than it is Morrowind, 100%. But I think that's really your only strong case. I feel like everything else in Daggerfall much more closely aligns itself with Morrowind. Dungeon crawling? I think every game has dungeon crawling. Every game in the series has dungeon crawling. Most of Skyrim is dungeon crawling? I will say there's a lot of dungeon crawling in Skyrim, but I wouldn't say that most of Skyrim is dungeon crawling. Right? I'm also one of those players who just doesn't really do much of the dungeon crawling in any of the Elder Scrolls games, so you don't really dungeon crawl anymore. You can't really call the 3 rooms caves dungeon crawling. What about the Dwemer ruin? Is it Dwemer ruins in Morrowind? Or like the Dwemer, or the not Dwemer, the Dunmer tombs. There's smaller dungeons in Morrowind, definitely, but one second, I'll just lie. Yeah, wait, not guilty. Oh, fuck you. Whatever. Not my problem. Let me show you what I mean here with Daggerfall as an example. The Masterfield Cemetery. These are actually some of the few dungeons in Daggerfall that are available to the player no matter what. So if we go in here, I'm just going to save my game before I go in here, just in the off chance that I do die. Right? This is a very Morrowind-esque dungeon. Right? Okay, this is a bit bigger than I was expecting. But yeah, it's like literally like you were saying, it's 3 rooms and a hallway. With like 2 skeletons. This is a very Morrowind-esque dungeon, right? So I would say the dungeon... here's the thing. The dungeon crawling... I will say that in both Skyrim and Morrowind, you are doing a lot of dungeon crawling, but I would argue that a lot more of the dungeon crawling in Daggerfall than people realize is these tiny little... Well, if you're not already doing a quest, a lot of the dungeon crawling feels more like Morrowind. Right? Now, granted, your average player isn't doing what I just did, because they're going and getting a quest for it, which takes them to an actual dungeon that'll crush their soul. My grandma's basement had more rooms than mine. That's pretty funny. But yeah, no, I definitely don't think that the... Because here's the thing. Here's another thing. Like, okay. I can agree that the dungeons in Skyrim are closer to Daggerfalls than Morrowind's are. I don't know. 1 second. Let me open up. Should I open up? 1 second. Let me open up. Let me open up MS Paint here, because I don't know how else to phrase. I don't know how to phrase this, so I'm gonna draw it. So we have Daggerfall, and then we have Morrowind, and this is how far away Daggerfall's dungeons are from Morrowind. And then we have Daggerfall again. And then we have Skyrim. And this is how far away the dungeons are from each other, right? Skyrim's dungeons are closer to Daggerfall's dungeons than Morrowind's dungeons are to Daggerfall's dungeons. That's what I meant to say. The dungeons are also focused in Daggerfall and in Skyrim. Morrowind focuses on the world building, the characters, the story, lore, and history. Does Skyrim really focus on the dungeons? I always thought Daggerfall. I always thought Skyrim focused on like the world, right? You didn't really explore in dungeons or anything. You explored the overworld, and maybe found a dungeon if you were lucky. And when you went into it, you like explored like maybe 5 or 6 rooms. Right, like the way I think about it is Daggerfall is a dungeon crawler that comes with an extremely expansive overworld. Skyrim is a decently expansive overworld with a few dungeons here and there. You know? I should make it's also maybe just the case that I don't really do the dungeon crawling in any of the Elder Scrolls games, so I'm probably not the best person to argue this. An hour meeting? What? I hope you realize you just described Daggerfall, right? That is not the case in Skyrim at all. I'll maybe go through like 20 minutes. I'll go through a Skyrim dungeon in like maybe 20 minutes. If that, at most. I don't think I've spent longer than 20 minutes in a Dwemer dungeon. In any Skyrim dungeon. Whereas I've spent upwards of an actual, like, hour and a half in a Daggerfall dungeon. Consistently. Right? We're not talking about the biggest Skyrim dungeon at all. Right? We're talking about averages. On average, I'm spending, like, an hour and a half in a Daggerfall dungeon. Now, granted, because I'm playing DFU, I'll probably give in at like the 30-minute mark and be like, okay, fuck this, I'm just gonna go / kill all so the giant dies, because that's usually the quest that I'm doing if I'm dungeon crawling. You know? No, I don't need to do that in Skyrim because I have a quest marker telling me where I need to go and what I need to do. Right? And hell, another thing is that even if you can explore the entirety of a dungeon in Skyrim and spend an hour and a half in it, that's still different from getting lost in a dungeon like you will with Daggerfall. right? In Skyrim, you have a quest. If you're going into a dungeon, there's a quest marker telling you what to do or where to go and what to do. In Daggerfall, that doesn't exist. It says there's a giant somewhere in this dungeon, go and kill it. And you don't know where that is or what you have to do to get to it. Now, granted, in Skyrim, you may not know the exact specifics of what you may or may not have to do to get to your objective, but, you know, if you walk down the open corridors, it's not impossible to find what you're looking for. Should just dungeon crawling differently. Wait, sorry, I think we think differently because we judge the dungeon crawling to be a differently sized part of the game in Skyrim. I can 100% agree with you on that. 100%. I actually, like I said, I don't do a whole ton of the dungeon crawling in this game. Like the Elder Scrolls game that I do the most dungeon crawling with is actually Oblivion, and that's because I absolutely despise the Thieves Guild quest in Oblivion. I think it's unironically the worst Thieves Guild quest. I play Daggerfall for the Thieves Guild, right? You don't have quest markers in Morrowind, and you will never get lost in Morrowind. Lost in Morrowind dungeon. Absolutely. That's not true. That is not fucking true. The Dwemer box dungeon, the first real dungeon in Daggerfall, it is so easy to get lost in that dungeon. I'm making it even more apparent that I haven't played a ton of Morrowind. How many hours do I have in Morrowind? 1 second, let me open. How many hours do I have in, of course it's, RPG, sure. How many hours do I have in Morrowind? I only have 40 hours in Morrowind. Literally my second least played Elder Scrolls game. Third least played, I guess. God, how the fuck do I have 92 hours in Skyrim? That's fucking insane to me. Skill issue? Whoops. My monitor just got unplugged there. There we go. That's not a skill issue. That's how the game is designed, dude. What do you mean? Would you call it a skill issue if I get lost in a Daggerfall dungeon, or would you call it a skill issue if you get lost in a Skyrim dungeon? Getting lost in a dungeon isn't a skill issue. That's the point of a dungeon crawler, right? Is to get lost in a dungeon and explore it, right? And hell, it's even easier to not get lost in a dungeon in Daggerfall because, fuck, what am I trying to do here? Ship. Because of, okay, well, 1 second. Let me show you. It's even easier to not get lost in a dungeon because of this menu. Getting lost in Morrowind in particular is a skill issue? No, it isn't. It is, if you are in a dungeon, there is not a, that is an insane thing to say, that is right next to the entrance, but you wouldn't know that if you, literally the only reason you would know that is if you've played the game before or watched a tutorial, right? Sure, if you explore the opening fucking, if any reasonable player playing for the first time, not knowing that the Dwemer box is right fucking there, would go through the entire dungeon looking for it. Because there's no quest marker. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that the point of that dungeon is to kind of troll the player. Right? So calling it a skill issue is extremely unfair. It's unfair in general because the point of a dungeon is to get lost in it. Right? Is to explore it. Is to uncover everything that you reasonably can. Right? It's one of those things where, what were we getting? Oh yeah, because it's, oh yeah, no, again, it's one of those things where if you know what you're doing, obviously you're not gonna get lost doing anything. right? Unless you're playing a game. Like, genuinely, like, I think this is part of the reason why I like Daggerfall so much, is because even when you know what you're doing, the game will still force you to play by its rules, right? Because if you know what you're doing in Morrowind, you can just min-max your way to success and fucking finish the game in 3 hours, probably. If you know what you're doing in Skyrim, you can just fucking follow the quest markers to victory. If you know what you're doing in Daggerfall, you still need to go through dungeons. You still need to explore. You still need to follow quests the same way a player who doesn't know what they're doing will do. Or will learn to do, I suppose. The only difference between a player who knows what they're doing in Daggerfall and a player who doesn't know what they're doing in Daggerfall is reading the journal. I'm going to be right back. Okay, I am back. Sorry about that. I had to go clean my cat's litter box. So I love having a cat because every time she goes to her litter box, I'm surprised my mic doesn't pick it up. Actually, every time my cat like goes to the bathroom, she runs around my living room and screeches at like the top of her lungs. It's 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 insane. And then like 10 minutes later, I'll go and clean her litter box. But yeah, like it's just, oh my god. Anyway, I also got an ice cream sandwich, which I'm gonna eat while I talk about Morrowind and dungeon crawling. So yeah, what was I saying earlier? That like the only difference between a player who knows what they're doing and a player who doesn't know what they're doing in Daggerfall is just reading the journal. That's the only real thing that you're doing differently. You're still engaging with the game on its terms. Right? Even if no matter how much you think you know, no, or not even think you know, no matter how much you know what you're doing. Because me, I've played 300 hours of Daggerfall. Right? I'm at how many hours exactly do I have here? 1 second. I have 309 hours in Daggerfall. Probably three. Well, probably three. I'm just gonna move that there. Probably like it'll probably be 311 after stream. Once I'm done streaming, or after today. But it's also the case that you don't need. The game is. How do I phrase this? Also, I want to make this clear. I'm not saying like this is not. I'm not trying to turn this into a Daggerfall good, Skyrim bad. I'm saying this is the way Daggerfall operates, and this is how Skyrim is different from that. Right? Let's get the hell out of here. Right, so even if you know what you're doing, you still need to do the things that a new player will have to do. Right? And that's not a bad thing. That's just how the game works. Right? And I'm not saying that you have to, and I'm not saying that in a, you're doing the same thing throughout the entirety of your playthrough. Obviously, you're probably going to be a bit more efficient at certain things, like going to, like the first thing you do is get a horse and cart, or going to the Fighters Guild immediately. Right, like doing things that a normal, like being able to do, you might be doing things in a different order, but you're still doing those things, right? And you could argue the same case with Skyrim, but like, still, those moments where you don't really have a marker are few, and you're doing things without a marker are very few and far between, unless you're just exploring for its own sake. Which again, in Skyrim, you're mostly exploring the overworld. At least I find myself exploring the overworld more than the dungeons. Daggerfall, wait, you feel like Morrowind and Daggerfall are almost different genres. That's interesting. Morrowind was definitely like this massive shift. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh!
Yeah, fuck you, dude. Dude, what the fuck? What was I even being charged with? Okay. Anyway. Completely different genres. That is incredibly interesting. I guess. Yeah, I guess Daggerfall is kind of a life simulator dungeon crawler and with some RPG mechanics, whereas Morrowind is an RPG dungeon crawler with very light life simulator mechanics. That would be pretty funny if I just replay, like, that would be a really funny mod if all of the guards were just like you just made it your like chat's different profile pictures. That would be really funny. Sorry, I'm not doing. Like, okay. Sorry, I'm not like actually playing the game right now. I'm eating just an ice cream sandwich while I talk. So apologies for the lack of gameplay. Never call Marwin a dungeon crawler. Vast majority of quests like, go bring me 4 pieces of milk. Yeah, I can see that, but what quests in Skyrim do? There's like maybe 3 dungeons that are required to beat the game that I can think of. And one of them is optional? Like there's Bleak Falls Barrow. There's the one dungeon to get acquainted with the blades, and then one other dungeon for the Elder Scroll, right? Yeah, sure. If you consider the entire game. But sure, absolutely. If you're considering the entire game, there are more dungeons in Skyrim than there are in Morrowind. 100%. I actually don't know if I would fully agree with you on that, just because I feel like we kind of have to severely narrow what a dungeon is for it to work. But, you know, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you off rip. That being said, just because a game has more dungeons doesn't make it more like Daggerfall. Doesn't make it have more in common with Daggerfall. Right? Wait a minute, most of the press go to the dungeon. Mara's like, gonna do something? Granted, I haven't played a whole ton of Morrowind. The furthest I've gotten to Morrowind was like the first 3 quests of the Thieves Guild, maybe the first 2 quests of the Fighters Guild, and maybe the first 5 or 6 quests of the mainline quest. That's about it. Right? And doing a few extra like miscellaneous quests here and there. But yeah. I would say a lot of the quests, a lot more of the quests happen in the overworld in Morrowind. But at the same time, I can think of still a lot of quests that take place in dungeons, you know, in Morrowind. Whereas in Skyrim, again, there's like, maybe 5 or 6 quests that I can think of that happen in dungeons. And like 2 of them don't even really happen in a dungeon. You know? Also, I would not call... Okay, I would call Daggerfall specifically a dungeon crawler. I would not at any point call Skyrim a dungeon crawler, dude. If you, like, genuinely, Skyrim is just an open world RPG. Genuinely. That is what Skyrim is. It's an open world RPG. Like I said, again, there's like maybe 3 dungeons that you are forced to go through. Whereas in Daggerfall, literally every single quest that you do takes you to a dungeon. Right? If you want to talk about the differences between Daggerfall and Morrowind, and how Daggerfall is less like or how Morrowind is less like Daggerfall than Skyrim is less like Daggerfall, I think we gotta talk about how often you enter it, like how often you need to enter a dungeon, right? Because sure, you can 100% just like do a numerical how many dungeons exist in the game. But it's not... That doesn't matter if you don't need to go through those dungeons. You know? Much more big dungeons? Again, like I said, I don't think that really matters, because if... It's one thing if the game has it. It's another thing if the game showcases it as its... as a part of its base of mechanics. right? Because you can have a like Skyrim. Skyrim is an open world game. It's an open world RPG. I would not call it a dungeon crawler. Granted, I wouldn't call Morrowind a dungeon crawler either. Where you want to put Morrowind and Daggerfall on that gradient of what is and isn't a dungeon crawler, I'm not gonna decide that, because I don't think it matters, because the game the game forces you to go through more dungeons in Morrowind than it does in Skyrim. Right? That's what I care about, is what is required of the player to beat the game. Right? Hmm. 10 minutes, but like... No, for sure. Like, I'm not saying... Obviously, if you play the game normally... sure. Let me rephrase what I said just now. If you play the game normally and do the things that is expected... if you do, you have to consider what is normally expected of the player within the parameters of a regular playthrough. Right? I think that... I shouldn't really bring up what the developers expect. I think what is expected of the player, what is my current... Is it mithril? Okay, so this is better. Or that is better. I think what is not expected of the player, but what most people are going to do is just travel the overworld. That's what I do, right? And hell, that's what I'm doing right now, because I have a mod that makes it so I can get gear without going into a dungeon, right? So I can do this, you know? Now if that means that I've necessarily made Daggerfall less of a dungeon crawler, I'm not here to have that discussion, because I modded it in, and so it doesn't really count. That being said, if we're gonna call Skyrim a dungeon crawler, I'm gonna take an issue with that, simply because I don't think most people treat it as a dungeon crawler. You know? I think most people treat it as an open world RPG, right? Whereas in Daggerfall, you're really treating this as a life simulator dungeon crawler with some RPG elements, which I think is a bit more in line with Morrowind, where it's an open world, or where it's a life simulator RPG with dungeon crawling mechanics, you know? Daggerfall is super dungeon crawling, Morrowind is super not dungeon crawling, Skyrim is somewhere in between it. And Morrowind is, yeah. That is true. But we're also talking about the base mechanic. We're also talking about genres, which I think is also extremely reductive. Which is, yeah, that's another thing, is we're only talking about the genre, which I think is extremely reductive. There are so many other things about Morrowind, like how the quests are, how the Fighters Guild and the Thieves Guild are handled in Morrowind versus Daggerfall. I think a lot of the guilds in the game are handled much more closely to Daggerfall than in Skyrim. Right? Oh, fuck. Is that even true? Is that even really true? Yeah. Yeah. Right? Like... And also the combat in Morrowind is so similar. The combat in Morrowind is incredibly similar to Daggerfall. Like in Skyrim, you're just hitting you're just hitting R2 over and over again. Right? In Morrowind, the way your character moves dictates what type of attack you perform, which is very close to Daggerfall, which is, depending on how you move your mouse, dictates what kind of attack you perform. You know? Obviously, in Daggerfall, you're holding down right click instead of the R2 button or whatever attack button you have bound. Right? So it's, you know. But, how do I phrase this? I definitely think on a, if we're talking about genres in general, or if we're talking about where each game lies as far as it being a dungeon crawler, I definitely think Skyrim is more of a dungeon crawler than Morrowind is. In theory, if you want a dungeon crawler experience and your options are Skyrim or Morrowind, go with Skyrim, because there's definitely more dungeons than there are in there's more dungeons in Skyrim than there are dungeons in Morrowind. But that doesn't mean that Skyrim is more like Daggerfall than Morrowind is more like Daggerfall. You don't think the combat impacts gameplay that much? Is that what you just said? We're not arguing if the combat is good or not. I personally really like this combat system. I wish more games would do it. I'm just saying, but my point is that the combat in Morrowind is much more similar to Daggerfall's than Skyrim's system is similar to Daggerfall's, right? It's like that image I showed earlier, where, except in reverse, I guess. Right? Morrowind's combat is more similar to Daggerfall's, and Skyrim's system is less similar to Daggerfall's. That gameplay is referring to how thieves and fighter guilds are treated. Oh, okay. I don't think it affects gameplay either, but it's still it's still how similarities work, right? We're still talking about. We're not talking about. I wasn't talking about the gameplay there. I was talking about how each game handles their guild and what similarities we can draw between them, or what similarities we can draw between Morrowind and Skyrim and Daggerfall, right? Or Morrowind or Skyrim and Daggerfall. So, and I think the quests, it's super weird because here's the thing. Morrowind, as far as I'm aware, Morrowind doesn't have any Radiant quests. As far as I'm aware. Skyrim only, whereas Daggerfall is almost all Radiant quests. There's unless you join some kind of knightly order, and I think one quest line in the Fighters Guild, it's almost all Radiant quests. Right? Outside of maybe character names, but that's about it. Whereas in in Morrowind, it's all it's a handcrafted quest line. And then in Skyrim, it's a kind of a bit of both, where it's a handcrafted quest line, and then afterwards you unlock Radiant quests. Or the only thing left to do is Radiant quests, at least. Right? My cat wants in my room. Give me one quick second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I think the game has very few core mechanics, core gameplay loops, and I think that's what's important to a game. A lot of stuff mostly just aesthetics. Well, that's what I'm talking about with doing quest guild stuff, right? The gameplay loop of Morrowind is very different from. I would argue that Morrowind and Skyrim are more in line with each other than any pre-Todd Howard game, Bethesda game versus post-Todd Howard Bethesda game. Morrowind, the core gameplay is engaging with the story and the lore. can agree that that's a big part of the game. But if we're talking core mechanics of what you're doing, I like, absolutely a lot of Morrowind is reading. But when you're playing the game, that isn't what you're doing. Right? In Daggerfall, you're exploring dungeons and needing to be slightly strategic with how you attack it, how you approach attacking enemies, and how you handle a bunch of different things. In Skyrim, you are exploring the overworld, and you don't really need to think about how to approach an encounter all that much, right? You just kind of hit the attack button and 3 things die. You know? Like, I'm not saying that either of these systems are bad or good. I'm just saying that because these differences exist, that is important for the hot take that you had, right? And it's important for this discussion of, is Morrowind or Skyrim closer to Daggerfall? This may appeal the game with the lore and the story. You know, 2 skill. Dagger. Hell, fuck. What is? I'm trying to remember, because my experience with Morrowind is mostly the Blood Moon DLC. Like, that was the main thing that I played in Morrowind, was the Blood Moon DLC. That was like the good, like a good maybe 25-30 hours of my playtime in Morrowind was the Blood Moon DLC. And I'm just trying to think, like, what were you even really doing in that? Right? Yeah, Blood Moon is also just super different from most of Morrowind. Okay. Which doesn't help my case either. And I'm pretty sure Blood Moon was just super different from... I also... How do I phrase this? I think I can agree that the overall gameplay loop between Skyrim and Daggerfall is similar, but I think that's the only real similarity the 2 games have, of going out, killing monsters, and getting their loot, and going back to a town to sell it. Right? That's the main gameplay loop for Daggerfall and Skyrim. Morrowind's main gameplay loop, going out and killing stuff. I really don't know where I'm going with this argument. What I'm going with this is... where I'm going with this argument is, what you're doing within that gameplay loop is in Morrowind is much more similar to how you play Daggerfall, versus the way that you play the gameplay loop in Skyrim isn't as much like Daggerfall as Morrowind is to Daggerfall. The main gameplay loop is talking to people and reading. Maybe I just play Morrowind like it's Daggerfall, but I could just completely disagree. Like, it's a genuine... Like, sure, there's a lot more talking in Daggerfall. It's a lot more talking to people in Daggerfall, don't get me wrong. But... I didn't... Like, outside of... Like, I can think of maybe 2 quests where the point is to talk to people. Maybe? Which, granted, that's more than Daggerfall and Skyrim, 100%. But I don't think that fundamentally changes its genre or gameplay loop. I'm gonna need to ask them which one is a mod and which one is vanilla DLC. You'd say Blood Moon is a mod. Okay. I'd say, okay, I see. I really like the Blood Moon DLC. I think that was a good... I wish... I wish that DLC was a bit longer, but... Yeah, no, I I can definitely agree that, like, it is very different from the rest of Morrowind. There was just a lot less, surprisingly enough, a lot less talking to people, but I also think people kind of exaggerate how much talking there is in Morrowind. Not Daggerfall, but I know Morrowind through and through, and I guarantee you most Morrowind content is about narrative and talking to people. Oh, absolutely. I can agree with you there. With Daggerfall, the main gameplay, like, talking to people in Daggerfall is relatively important. There is a lot of talking in Daggerfall. But the thing is that, I don't know, I don't remember if this is the case in Morrowind, but in Daggerfall, the only thing you need is 2 or 3 things out of every encounter. It's usually it's usually the name of a place and what you're looking for, or what you're trying to kill. Usually. 90% of the time that's the case. Maybe it's someone's, or sometimes it might be someone's house and a specific item you need, or some kind of person you're looking for. Whereas in Morrowind, I don't really know. But I can definitely actually, one second. Let me get a, fuck me. Let me fast travel. I should have just gone to my ship. Okay, you know what? There we go. Let me go to... Let's go to Daggerfall. Let's do the first quest line of Daggerfall here. And this is what every... Oh, God. Okay. 1 second. Okay, 17. Let's just do 12 hours. Vengeance! Okay. Loader while, let's do 7 hours. So, the main... I'm about to do something. This is not gonna go well, ship. Actually, no, I have the skeleton key. This will be fine, actually. We'll just do the main quest line. We'll do the first, we'll do the Nullfog quest for Daggerfall here. Yeah, I have the skeleton key. We'll be fine. I won't have to... See, this is another thing about Daggerfall, is that I can kind of just skip the main dungeon. This is actually such a... I'm about to make such a bad faith argument because of how much I've optimized my playstyle in this game. Right, I have a Daedric artifact before I've started the main quest line, which is something you can do in every other Elder Scrolls game. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm about to make such a bad faith argument that it's kind of horrible what I'm about to do. And I'm gonna make fun of myself for making this. I just realized how bad faith of an argument I'm gonna make. I'm still gonna make the argument in bad faith, and then I'm gonna make fun of myself for making that argument in bad faith. So bear with me here. Just gonna save. Yes. So you got my Runa, yes. She Dungeon, yes. Okay. So we have a quest here to go to She Dungeon. Don't need to go to our ship. Go over here. And then find She Dungeon. Yeah, so what we're doing. Can I ask how banking works? So yeah, I made it. 1 second. Exit. I'm gonna just load this save because I'm gonna just to show how banking works, because I don't want to be under the time limit of the quest that I just accepted. Where is... let's do this in Longtown. Or New Crest. Where the fuck is Longtown, then? Is it here? Yeah, it's here, okay. Yeah, let's do this in Longtown, because I don't want the guards on my ass. So, in Daggerfall, gold has weight. And I think it's actually the only Elder Scrolls game that makes gold have weight. So... Oh, fuck, of course I don't know where any banks are. That might have been a bad idea, actually. If I can find someone to tell me where a bank is... Okay. Okay, they're both up there. Like, how do letters of credit work? Okay, so, what is the item? Or do I give the letter away? Does it see it split? That I actually don't know. That, my understanding is you would basically have to, deposit your money in a bank and make a new letter of credit that is the exact amount of, like, whatever the item is worth, you would have to make that exact amount, which isn't great when your mercantile lowers the stated item, or the state. Fuck you! God damn it! Should I see guards? Yeah, sure. Okay, well, that was a mistake. Good thing I'm gonna load my save. So yeah, no. The letters of credit, if you want to... Letters of credit are basically checks. Right? They're literally just checks. Right? When you can't hold 200... Because you can't hold 200,000 gold pieces in your inventory. The main thing I use letters of credit for are for getting... Or not getting, for summoning Daedra. Right? For summoning the Daedric princes. That's what I mostly use the letters of credit for. What the fuck is on my arm? Okay. Ow. So, what I'll do is I'll go to the bank with like 220,000 gold pieces and make a... Because I think... I'm probably wrong about this, but it requires a 10% fee to make a letter of credit. Do items despawn if I drop them in someplace? That's a very good question. We'll test it right now, actually. 1 second. Because I dropped my spellbook at the very beginning of the playthrough. Okay, oh, it's right there, okay. I dropped the first thing I did when playing was I dropped my spellbook. Where's the dungeon entrance? See, here, normally I would go... Oh, here it is. Normally I would go into third person just to increase my FOV, but that's another thing in this game, so... I'm just gonna quickly run through this dungeon and see if my spellbook is still here. It should be. My understanding is that items don't generally despawn. Again, unless it's corpses. The only thing that do despawn is corpses. But if you place an item down, I have no idea if it still stays or not. And now that I'm thinking about it, I would... Okay, yeah, no, it's not here. Alright, then I guess they do despawn. My first character is Spellzor's Amazing Area Effect. Oh, God. Easily the most overpowered thing. God damn. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna make that really bad faith argument now. And explain why it's a bad faith argument and why I'm also gonna make fun of it, so... Okay, we'll go to She Dungeon, I'll do this quest, and I'll explain why the argument I was about to make was kind of bad faith. So the argument that I was going to make was Daggerfall is much more like Morrowind because look at how many rooms I can beat this dungeon through going through. Let me just... She Dungeon... Which doesn't work as an argument because... I already had to go through a completely separate dungeon to pull off what I'm about to do. Right? This magically held does not unlock. Oh. Hello. Okay. Is it relevant for a normal playthrough? What do you mean it's irrelevant for a normal play? Well, I guess... Is it? Well, no, I'm not talking... Okay, for a normal playthrough, the amount... Because you made the argument that because the dungeons were smaller, that made it less like Daggerfall. And yet, look at me. I just beat this dungeon going through less rooms than a normal dungeon in Morrowind, right? No, that's not quite my point. Well, what is your point? That there's more dungeons in... There's more dungeons in Skyrim than there are in Morrowind? Because I don't think that's... I don't think that's a good point, because if you're just going across how many dungeons you'll go through, or sorry, how many dungeons there are versus how many dungeons you'll actually go through, I think how many, or sorry, fuck, I think how many dungeons you go through in an average playthrough is much more important than, come on, there we go, than how many dungeons exist. Part of the experience in Morrowind? Oh. Really? Okay, maybe I just played Skyrim and Morrowind as just kind of different games, but like, I found myself doing way more dungeon crawling in Morrowind than I did in Skyrim. And I think a big reason is because you don't need to go into a dungeon to be able to find loot in Skyrim, you know? Whereas in Morrowind, almost all of like the good stuff is in dungeons. Like the vast majority of, if you want to level up your if you want to like get better stuff, you go to the dungeons, you know? Whereas in Skyrim, you don't really need to do that, more or less. Like, sure, particularly powerful stuff, maybe, but because of how Skyrim works as a game, good cloak. Ooh, what does this do for me? Ready to lock. What? Door. Oh, it just locks doors? This is literally the worst quest reward I've ever received. Just like Skyrim! I mean, just like Morrowind. I'm an idiot. It's not just like Skyrim. The quest items in Skyrim are actually pretty good. Guys, it's just like Morrowind, guys. The quest items fucking suck. Obviously that's not a fucking... That's the real bad faith argument, but I feel like we're all smart enough to realize that. Hopefully. Anyway, I get best chestplate in Morrowind doing 12 pilgrimages. Huh. What's the chestplate in Morrowind? What's like the Daedric artifact chestplate in Morrowind? Though, like the ebony chestplate, right? Is that what it is? Is it the ebony chestplate in Daggerfall or Morrowind? Yeah, ebony mail. Yeah. In Daggerfall, it's just like, oh, who do you have to talk to? Is it? Who is it that you have to talk to? It's like, fuck with these guards, dude. What was I saying? Whereas in Skyrim, I think the way you get any ebony armor is by fighting, like, that one level 80 dude, right? In order to get the best sword in the game, you have to go to the sea, talk to a broken statue, then go to a city to hire a guy to rebuild the statue. Huh. Yeah, I feel like, okay, like I said, fuck. I found myself going into more dungeons in Morrowind than I did in Skyrim. But again, that's because a lot of the way you, sure, when you're doing quests, you're doing stuff differently in Morrowind than you are in Daggerfall. But in Skyrim, the way you the way progression works is just open world exploration, and you're able to find better loot generally. You know? I don't know how to do any of, like, my understanding of the Deja quests in, like, the only Deja quest mission I did in Skyrim was Mehrunes Razor, where you have to, it's like one fort with a few, it is, my main not my main argument, but like, the biggest thing that I would, the biggest reason I think that Morrowind is more like Daggerfall than Skyrim is to Daggerfall is mostly just how it handles quests, right? In Morrowind and Daggerfall, you actually have to pay attention to what you're doing, whereas in Skyrim, you can kind of just follow the quest markers to victory and maybe kill a thing or two, you know? No, it isn't a generic item if you want to name. The Redder and Fallen Vivek. Huh. Alright. That's kind of cool. I don't think it's a generic... I could be very wrong in Morrowind. But the Ebony Mail in Morrowind also isn't a generic item either. And if you want a generic ebony chestplate, then just kill an enemy who happens to be wearing it. Or hope to God an enemy randomly drops it, rather. Okay, how much stuff do... Okay, I still have this stuff. Yeah, okay. Rip Market Remedies. Let's hope the cops don't stop me on my way. They probably will. Endgame loot in Morrowind is easier to get just by stealing it from vaults. That's kind of cool. So you have to go into a place that may or may not have enemies, get a bunch of loot, and leave. You know what that sounds like? Sounds like a dungeon crawl. Sounds like you're crawling through a dungeon. Ah! Oh my god, that actually scared the fucking, oh my god. Honestly, I kind of, that was deserved. It's a vault, not a dungeon. One second, one second. Let me. Old as Zena's shack. Okay, this is not what I wanted. Oh yeah, crypts, here we go. Yeah, this is a cemetery, not a dungeon. Oh, maybe that's a bad faith argument, actually. It's... I feel like I feel like we're getting really pedantic about what is and isn't a dungeon. I would say I would argue a dungeon is a place where you fight enemies to gather loot. You know? That is my classification of a dungeon. Is a area of a concentration of danger. A indoor concentration of risk and reward. Right? In the vaults I'm talking about, you're not fighting anyone. Oh. Okay then. Yeah, not a dungeon. What is this? The hell? Who forgot to model? Who forgot to put bricks on the back of my stairs? Here lies Hodge Futabo? Hodge Futabo? If these vaults are dungeons, then shops are also dungeons when you steal from them? 100%. I can 100%. I actually kind of agree with that. I know you're kidding. I know you're making really like. Unironically, they kind of do become dungeons. Alright, because actually no, 1 second. Let me one quick second. I know you're making like a God damn it. I don't mean to be twisting your words like this. This is kind of a dick move for what I'm doing, but let me cook. Because like I said, it's an area of higher risk and higher reward. The risk you're taking is stealing a bunch of items, and the risk you're taking along with that is... Oh my fucking... Dude! Fuck you! Oh my god! I'm gonna play something else, I think, for now. Oh my god, dude, that scared the shit out of me. Oh, yeah, legitimately, no. I think I'm proving my point. I think I'm proving your point that they are genuinely just straight up dungeons. Why are they attacking you? Because I'm a criminal conspiracy. I'm accused of the crime of criminal conspiracy. The guards just fucking hate me. Right? I just pissed off the city. That's why. I've done so much crime in... I've committed so many crimes in Rip Market that they just fucking hate me. Didn't you do time already? No, I've been loading my saves. And this doesn't stop. Criminal conspiracy? Criminal conspiracy isn't a real charge. It's literally just because the guards hate you and want to charge you with something, so they give you a vague charge of criminal conspiracy. Even if I served my 24 days in prison, literally I would the next let's just found guilty. Next few days. Oh, fuck off. Okay, ship until 12 hours. Do items despawn if you drop them on the ship? Nope. That's why you can use a ship as a bank. That's what I do. I use it as a universal bank. Because you can take your ship anywhere. Or you can teleport to your ship from anywhere. Let's go and let's go into another shop, try and buy something. Let's see if they what was that? A ship is worth to buy? 100%. Get a ship. The first thing you should buy in this game is a ship. Actually, that's not true. The first thing you should buy in this game is a horse and a cart. I would argue, like, if you don't have enough for both, I would say get a cart first, then a horse, but is the large ship worth it? Not at all. Sorry. Unless you like longboats, it can be, but it's like I prefer the look of the smaller ship because it reminds me of pirates and I like pirates. So what's the difference? Nothing. Literally the only difference is cosmetic. It's whether you want... Wait, what the hell? Fuck is this? Is it this? It's a weight rest. Whatever. Either way, I don't care. If it ain't the Thieves Guild, then I really don't care. Does the ship have any containers, or do you just drop stuff on the ground? There are mods where you can decorate your ship, but I don't have any of those.
Hold! Hold!
Fucking knew it. Criminal conspiracy, and I'm doing nothing. See what I mean? This is why you say not guilty in debate. Found guilty. There's nothing you can do about criminal conspiracy charge unless a thief... Dude, immediately. But yeah, you just drop stuff on the ground. Lie. Guilty. Fuck this game, dude. Unironically, okay, we're gonna No! Okay, we're just gonna load this. Oh, I didn't save! Whatever. Not my problem. Of course. Okay, no. The reason why I would make the argument that shops are, in a way, dungeons is because you can choose to steal from them. That reward being getting whatever item you're trying to steal for free, and the risk is guards showing up and trying to kill you, right? And I would argue that a dungeon, and I'll admit this is a pretty loose term, a dungeon is a place of increased risk and reward worthy of exploration. And shops are kind of worth it to explore, unironically, even if it's just a case of seeing what's on the second floor or not. It's kind of fun. Does your back feel alright? Oh my god, yeah, no, my back, well, the thing about my back is that, like, it's just a case of, like, my tailbone gets kind of sore sometimes because... Oh, fuck you. Okay, then. I thought you were actually inquiring as to my back pain, because I do... Fuck you. God damn it. No, you're absolutely right, this is a reach. This is 100% a reach, just because you, like... I knew you were making a bad faith argument, but that got me thinking of how we can consider something like shops to be dungeons, because they are kind of dungeon-esque, right? In a, like, purely mechanical sense, they are kind of like dungeons, right? No, you're all good. You're completely fine. I just genuinely, I wish I'd seen that coming. You know what? Let's see how many guards are after me. 17. City Watch. Shouldn't have gone after the god of luck. And I can already hear all my friends driving to my house to come beat me to death for saying that. Oh yeah, real. Unironically, it's so bad because it's right. Because here's the reason I have back pain is because I would always fall on my tailbone. Right, for some reason, like when I was a kid, any time I fell, it would always be on my tailbone, and it was just that, like, chronic hitting my tailbone over and over again that kind of just fucked up my back. So now that, like, every once in a while, I'll feel like a jolt right on my tailbone, which... Oh god, I just realized so many different things that I'm not going to go over on stream because I don't want to get banned. That's going to cause a lot of Oh my god, I didn't even realize. Again, I can't go over any of the things that I'm thinking about because it's sexual in nature, so I don't want to get banned, but god damn it. Yeah, I just realized how much my tailbone pain is going to cause problems. Yeah. Moving on. Relatively. Ignoring the other things that I mentioned, the main reason my back hurts is because I just injured my tailbone over the years to the point where it's just kind of fucked up. And like every like 3 days or so I need to crack my tailbone for it to feel okay. And I feel like I need to crack my tailbone right now. Like, it's just one of those things where whenever I feel a jolt, it's like, okay, I need to try and crack my tailbone, and I'll try, you know, I'll tense up my muscles around my tailbone and, you know, try and get a crack out of it, but isn't there surgery for it? I'm sure that there is, but, like, it's one of those things, it's probably just, like, my guess is that it's a pinched nerve, right? It's a pinched nerve within my spine, probably. It's probably something that I would have to go to... I don't know about a chiropractor. I'm really fucking terrified of chiropractors, if I'm being honest. It's something I'd probably have to talk to my doctor about, but... it's something that I'll deal with in due time. Anyway, moving on. Fuck! You know what? Ship. We're gonna do an exit save. I'm switching games. Sorry if you wanted to watch someone play Daggerfall, but oh my god. Oh my god! I'm gonna quickly throw this up just because I don't know what's under Daggerfall, and it's just Steam. Perfect. Ooh, Doom. Doom could be fun. I would do Halo, but I don't really... Halo takes forever to load. Chiropractors are fake as well. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, they just kind of... They're like massage therapists, but for skeletal work, right? They're skeletal massage therapists, is my understanding. Right? If there's a problem with your skeleton, you go to a chiropractor. Chiropractors are based on stuff like pseudoscience, it's like homeopathy. Hmm. One second, let me search this out. Can chiropractors do chiropractors? Ah, fuck, 1 second. Alright, I am back. Sorry about that. I got some stuff I can eat while I stream. Anyway. What the fuck? I'm just gonna delete that message, I'm sorry. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, chiropractors. Yeah, no, okay. I don't necessarily think chiropractors work. I knew it'd be 100. Oh, I know it'd be 311. Anyway, I don't necessarily think chiropractors work. I just don't like. If you have, my understanding is that if you have an issue with your spine, you're probably gonna end up seeing a chiropractor. I don't know why I still have that up. Should we do Balatro? I can close my auto clicker now. Let's I'm gonna switch over to the Xbox side of things. Let me throw this up again. Capture card, full screen. There we go. Kind of, sort of. I'm just gonna throw that up just so there's something to actually look at. Okay. Are your doctor to send you a surgeon or therapist? Okay. Yeah. That's actually a good, yeah. You're absolutely right, actually. Yeah, physical therapist or a surgeon. Honestly, you're absolutely right, actually. But yeah, also, the thing I said about skeletal work was because my mom is a massage therapist, I asked her, like, what do chiropractors do and, like, what is their, like, whole niche, so to speak, and she said that they mostly work on skeletal work, but past that, I don't really know what they're about, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, even if my doc did recommend a chiropractor, I probably wouldn't go just because I've heard the fucking horror stories of people like getting like actually decapitated. You know, like their neck, like their neck bones are detached, but the rest of their skin isn't. So like they're technically decapitated. You know. So yeah, I'm not saying I would ever go to a chiropractor. I'm just saying that was my first thought when I was like trying to figure out what to do. I still, dude. Okay, another thing. I'm gonna just throw this up. Or take that down. I fucking hate how long it takes for my Xbox to load, dude. My PS4 is way fucking faster than this shit. Chiropractic theory basically just says every illness can be cured with that's fucked up. Again, like I said, my understanding of a chiropractor is basically just kind of realigning your skeleton, right? Like it's like mostly just skeleton. If something's wrong with your skeleton, you go to a chiropractor and they'll do what they can, right? That is my understanding. I don't buy that as fact. I don't think that's true. I don't think they'll actually be able to fix your fucking skeleton. But like, you know, their niche is skeletal work, as bullshit as their actual work is. Right? Like, don't worry, you don't need to save me from the evils of chiropractitioners. Right? I'm not going to a fucking chiropractor. I shouldn't even have brought them up. Like I said. And again, this isn't like. Also, don't feel bad about my back pain. This is literally like maybe once every 2 months my back will act up and I'm able to crack my back and it's good again for another 2 months, right? Like it's literally like don't even worry about it. There'll be an occasional yelps every one or two streams every one or two streams every once in a while, but like I'm fine. Like don't fucking you know. I'm not concerned about it. And it's not like it's gotten worse over the years or anything. So Oh, for sure, 100%. I still absolutely think it's important to have it. I'm not saying that I also am not saying that I regret having this conversation because, you know, this is also be like it is. Sorry, one second. Let me. Sorry, I just wanted to chew there. I still absolutely have these discussions because this may be on Twitch, but I'm also streaming on YouTube, and I save VODs on, I save VODs on YouTube, which are like permanent as far as I'm aware. I mean, unless I decide to choose to delete them, or YouTube needs to take it down for one reason or another. But like outside of very rare cases like that, they're staying up. I forgot to switch scenes in, they're not scenes, but I forgot to switch categories on YouTube and Twitch. One second. I'm still on Daggerfall in Twitch and YouTube. What the fuck? Oh. Balatro. Done. Okay, we're good. We good. Oh, wait, oh, it's just not live. I actually went back like an hour and a half of this stream, and I thought that I still had like, oh, which I thought I still had these up. I'm so dumb. Okay, anyway, let's do some let's start Balatroing. Okay. Alright, I have to run. Oh, yeah. Explaining shifts. Yeah, no worries. Oh, god damn, I got shit on my mic. Fuck. Yeah, see you around. Have a nice rest of your day or night. I don't know how that sounded on stream. Oh, fuck me, dude. Do I have a pen or something? I just got like a fucking food particle in my mic. That's gonna piss me off. One second, I'm gonna go look for a toothpick to go get this shit off my mic. 1 second. Alright, I got it back. Alright, I got it out. Oh man. That sucked. Okay, we'll just play to the end of this blind and then oh my god. Nice. Damn. God damn it. Nice. Nice. Oh my god. Damn it. All right. All right. Too bad we couldn't have gotten that. Oh man. Yeah, so that. Damn. Well. Nice. Holy fuck. Okay. Oh my god, dude, are you fucking with me? God, in one... Oh my god, dude. That's fine, that's whatever. Yeah. Oh my god, so close. Ha! Fucking stone cards, dude. Oh, god damn it. Huh. See if we can get some more queens. Yeah. Oh. Damn. Hmm. What the fuck, dude? Okay. Holy fuck. Come on, straight. Oh my god, yeah, or flush. Hell yeah. Oh my god, that was an insane gamble. I don't really need jokers. Not that I'm opposed to getting more, I just... What the fuck? Nice. That's another bug that I really hate is that it doesn't show you the score that you need to be when you load into your save. Nice. That's really good. Yeah, it's worth a shot seeing if it'll turn into a queen, or if it'll give us a queen. We can do better. Nice, knew it. Easy 100,000. Ooh. Damn it. Okay, I am back. Sorry about that. We gotta finish this quick. Okay. We gotta do 3 of a kind here. I fucked up. I gotta be putting that goddamn stone card up front. God damn, okay. Oh my god. Hello! Oh my god. A little carried away with the mods. Oh boy. Oh boy. Nothing... okay. At this point, there's nothing else I have to. Okay. Not bad. Main menu. Oh, I fucked up again! Okay. I'm trying to complete this as quickly as possible because I just realized that I saw the time I need to go make dinner, but I really want to finish this game. It's like it's like, hey, I want to create. Hey, I want weapons. Hey, I have a whole new mod pack. This is trash. I can't think of any mod packs right now. I'm sorry. Maybe. Okay. Nice. All of these suck. God damn it. You know what? That really isn't worth it. It is, but... doing another one. Oh my god, dude, we... Good. Good shit! Okay, there's one. Oh, there's two. That's what we needed. We'll just throw a king in there for the extra 10. Very large blind. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. That was... oh... Yeah, this is bad. This is very bad. Yeah, okay. Alright, well, fuck me then. Okay, well, I'm gonna end off stream here, so... yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't think of any more mod packs, but anyway. Like I said, I'm going to end off stream here, so yeah, take care, everyone.